Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So it's been a while since I've done a build guide. I've just been doing some other uploads for Cyberpunk and things like that. Don't stress, Path of Exile is still the key game on this channel, but I need to play some other games from time to time too. And Cyberpunk is dope. Anyway, check out those videos if you want to see the gameplay through, and I've started adding commentary. But anyway, avoided that. This is my build guide for the Toxic Rain Trickster. So there's a few mechanics at play here, and I'll explain this briefly, but a couple of things that we need as key to this build, and this is the cheap version by the way, and if you want to see the DPS scaled correctly on this is about 4 million dot. So it's not the most that it could be, it could definitely be higher, but this is pretty okay for right now. Anyway, so mechanics at play. How does this work? What are we doing? What's the key story here? So there's two key items that we really need. So you'll see when I do this. Number one, I'm casting chaos skills, and number two, you'll see that I have a arrow skill as well going out, which is caustic arrow, which is causing all the causticness. So how do I do this? No, number one, you're going to need a Maloney's mechanism. So this is going to trigger a socketed bow skill when you attack with a bow. This is what's triggering my my caustic arrow, and then I've got awakened arrow nova support, which is surprisingly cheap, and then frenzy to also increase my frenzy charges. So that's how I'm doing that. So the next thing, in order to get my chaos skills to cast, as you will see, that was soul rend. Anyway, sorry, went to the dentist today. Anyway, to get my chaos skills to cast, I'm actually using an Aznath's Chant, Iron Circlet. Now this one was like 40 chaos or something like that. But again, trigger a socketed spell when you attack with a bow. So this is doing bow skill, this is doing spell. And what I've got triggered in here, which we'll see in the build guide when we do the breakdown shortly, is Despair, Contagion, Soul Rend, and Essence Drain. And these also benefit from a +1 modifier on my bow as well. But that's basically where the big parts of damage is coming from, at least from proccing a shitload of dot. Now, other things, I'm running a Cherubim's Malevolence. That just gives you crazy amounts of leech and chaos damage. And my bow has +1 to dex gems, +1 to socketed gems, and +1 to bow gems. So I think I did a video about this a little earlier as well. And I know this is League End, but this build will most likely apply for next League too. But essentially, what we're doing here is we're just getting gem level up and gem level up. So Toxic Rain is actually level 28. And this is the Toxic Rain that you'll see in the POB as well. And that's a pretty damn powerful Toxic Rain. We're running a level 3 Empower, which is getting an extra level from our bow, which is then beefing up our Empower, so it does +3 instead of +2. So we're getting a lot of levels. That's pretty much the key here. Belt's nothing impressive. And obviously I'm a ringer. I've got curse enemies on hit with its Despair. And then non-channeling skills I've got -7, so my Toxic Rain costs 7 and I regen really quickly. Now being Trickster, you know, we've got dot nodes here, so we got Patient Reaper, we've got Prolonged Pain, and we're going Escape Artist and Ghost Dance, and we're getting Ghost charges or Ghost Shroud charges. So all very standard stuff. Now to even further my damage, and you'll see it in the POB, and I'll explain this more, is I'm actually running Wither Spell Totems. So you'll notice in the B-roll that these things will actually cast while I'm running around, and I can, at this stage, have 3 of them. I only thought I could have 2. There we go, I can have 3. So basically, when you hit a boss, you're going to drop this down, and then you start slamming it with your bow skills. Bob's your uncle, it's going to do a lot of damage. Now the other thing is I'm using Withering Step as well. So I already moved pretty quickly.
Just need a moment to
Withering
catch
Step
my breath.
gives me even more movement speed because it gives me elusive. So that's going to give you increased dodge chance, and we're just, you know, you're pretty much good to go at that stage. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much the mechanics. You're just going to run around, smash everything. You don't need a crazy amount of health because this is a trickster and it's heavily reliant on dodge in particular, this build, which I know a lot of people don't necessarily like, but hey, we're using it here. Anyway, we'll get into the build guide and do the breakdown and then go from there. So yeah, we'll be back in a couple seconds. Okay, so for the armors and key unique items, the first item that we're going to actually use is Asenath's Chant. Basically what this gives us is we trigger a socketed spell when you attack with a bow. It also gives you increased attack speed, gives you increased energy shield, mana regeneration, and movement speed. This will be the first item. Now, for the chest piece, you're going to use a Cherubim's Maleficence. Basically, this is going to give you flat increases to chaos damage, and it's also going to give you increased total recovery per second from leech. And being a trickster, we're going to leech a lot based on our dot damage. It'll also give you a ton of armor, ton of evasion, and a good amount of health. Now, as far as the rest of the gearing, you're going to be getting a belt, which is basically any Stygian visor, any belt that's going to give you life and all resist, and then on top of that you're going to want to get Aspect of the Spider on your boots, and that's going to increase your ability to mitigate damage as another defensive layer for your character. Okay, so for weapon and offhand, we're going to be going with a 6-link thicket bow, which you can get for pretty cheap. Now, you're going to want to get at least +3 to skills in any combination you can get. I think mine is a little bit unique where it has, 1 to dex gems, 1 to socketed gems, 1 to bow gems. If you can get that, great. If you can get any other combination to buff up your gems as much as you can, even better. You'll also need attack speed and chaos damage over time. I found to be incredibly good rolls on this bow as well. Now, for your offhand, you're going to get a Maloney's Mechanism. What this is going to do is it's going to trigger a socketed bow skill when you attack with your bow, which is going to let us trigger Caustic Arrow and Frenzy. This is also going to give you increased attack speed. And the interesting thing about this item is it's actually a socketed quiver and one of the only socketed quivers in the game. So with jewelry, as it says here, anything you want to do with any rings to max resist, life, and despair, you'll need despair on hit for that extra damage. It's not required, but it's good to have it. Also, if you can get reduced non-channeling skills rolls, mana reductions on your rings, that's even better. Now your amulet, it doesn't really matter what you get on your amulet. In my case, I did get one with +1 level to all chaos skill gems. That's going to buff up your toxic rain, it's going to buff up all your gems in your helmet, it's going to buff up a whole heap of stuff because this character is predicated on running chaos abilities. But outside of that, you don't need to do anything crazy. You also want to run all corruption, allocates corruption on your amulet as well. So with this build, you're going to be running no unique jewels in particular. You just want jewels that are going to give you life, damage over time, and if you can get skill effect duration. Skill effect duration actually increases your DPS with the Toxic Rain pods. Now, the other thing that you're going to want for cluster jewels, and this is the cheaper option, is going Wicked Pole and Brood for potency. This is going to increase your chaos damage, it's going to increase your skill effect duration, and it's going to increase your dot damage as well. And it's also going to increase your life recovery from FLASKS, which is going to be good. So realistically, you're going to be running any FLASK that can increase your dodge, your evasion, some health, health regeneration. But the biggest FLASK in this entire build, and the one that's going to increase your damage, is actually going to be the Dying Sun. And this was because it allows you to fire an additional 2 projectiles, which is going to buff up your Toxic Rain and also your Caustic Arrow that you're going to be slinging as you run around as well. So for skill gems and support gems, in your helm you're going to be running Despair, Contagion, Soul Rend, and Essence Drain, and this is going to proc every time you fire your Toxic Rain. In your chest, we're just going to use this as a trash chest, otherwise you can switch it out with your bow. You really don't want to do that because of the plus gem modifiers that you want on your bow, but you're going to be running Cast when Damage Taken, Immortal Call, Dash, Second Wind, Withering Step, and Stone Golem, and pretty much all your other skills. Boots, I only have 3 sockets in my boots, and that's Vile Grace, Malevolence, and Enlighten. Weapon, you're going to be running, which is your bow, you're going to be running Toxic Rain, Vicious Projectiles, Swift Affliction, Empower, Mirage, Archer, and Void Manipulation. Pretty much anything that you can buff up dot damage with in this situation. Now, gloves, you're going to be running your totem spec in here, so you're going to run Wither, increased duration, spell totem, and increased area of effect. And finally, with your quiver, because we're running a Maloney's, you're going to be running Caustic Arrow, Arrow Nova, and Frenzy. Okay, so tree time. Right, how do we build this tree? Pretty simple stuff. We'll just turn that overlay off. Boop. All right. So we're going to start with the shadow area here. We're going to take these physical and chaos damage nodes, and we're also going to just jump up here and get trickery, and then we're going to get this pretty early on because this increases your overall damage and your dex and intelligence and health. Then we're going to come down. We're going to grab entropy. We'll pop up here and grab this growth and decay node. That's going to get your dot started. And then we're going to come down, pick up, we actually don't need to pick up Frenetic until we can get our Maloney's mechanism. So I wouldn't worry so much about this one at the very start. So then you'll come down, you'll pick up Hunter's Gambit. You probably want this Thief's Craft because you're going to be running dry on intelligence throughout this entire build and it's very difficult to balance. Then you want to get Revenge and Hunted. This is going to increase your damage, it's going to give you life, and it's going to give you overall evasion rating. So then you'll come down, you'll pick up Acrobatics, Phase Acrobatics. You'll come down, pick up this node here. Now you probably want to get Corrupted Blood on one of your gems, but up to you when you want to do that. Then we're going to go and get Master Fletcher. This is going to increase our dot. We're always going for dot nodes. Then we'll come up, get Herbalism. We'll come back across to the left. We'll get Heart of Oak. We'll come down, get Avatar of the Hunt. This is going to give us more dot and increased movement speed and evasion rating. All are good things for this build. Then we'll come up to the left and we'll basically go straight up. Now we want to get this exceptional performance because we want the skill effect duration. That's going to increase the damage that our Toxic Rain pods do. Then we'll come and we will get all of these life nodes. So the next thing you'll want to do is come back down here. Pick up Wind Dancer. Wind Dancer is pretty much you need it on this build. It's going to give you 20% less damage taken if you've been hit recently. 20% more evasion rating if you've been hit recently, and 40% less evasion if you haven't been hit recently. So it just means that you basically are like wind. And then you will pick up Farsight, and this is going to give you more dot. And in my case, I picked up Toxic Strikes because this gives you straight up chaos damage. Now, when you've picked up that, you've got to the point where you've got your clusters together. Then you want to get your clusters in here. So you want to get one with at least Unholy Grace and Wicked Pole. And then you want to get your 4-socket clusters with Wicked Pole and Brood Potency. So you want to basically have a triple stacked Wicked Pole because that's going to give you 30% increased skill effect duration, and each one of these nodes gives you 35% increased chaos damage. Now, I did get a Replica Conqueror's efficiency for the mana reduction, because it gives you -9 to non-channeling skills, and also gives you skill effect duration as well. It's quite a good gem, very, very cheap. You don't need it, but it just gives you that little bit more. Now, on the Ascendancy side, we will basically go down. You'll get Patient Reaper first, you'll get Prolonged Pain second, you'll get Ghost Dance third, and you'll get Escape Artist fourth when you do your Ascendancies for this build. And that's pretty much the tree. Pretty straightforward, very simple. Seen a lot of builds that build up into atrophy up here and whatnot. Don't really need to do that. Aside from that, overall, pretty straightforward. And your Amulet enchant is going to be Corruption, which is going to give you chaos damage leached back as life. And because we use Wither totems, 20% increased effect of Withered and 25% increased chaos damage. That's pretty much the tree. That's as complicated as it gets. So yeah. Okay, so thanks for watching the build guide, and I hope this helps you with your Trickster, Toxic Rain Trickster. And maybe not so much for this league because this league's pretty much over, but hey, this could be a flashback build because we've got, what, a couple of weeks on flashback, 3 weeks on flashback, something like that, over the Christmas break. I am going to do a curation video for flashback to give you build ideas and whatnot. I'll probably do that in the next couple of days or 3 days, in between playing Cyberpunk. But yeah, if this video helps you with your Toxic Rain Trickster builds, this is pretty much as raw as it gets. It's realistic, and you know, it's working for me, as you can see in the B-roll. Give me a like, give me a sub, and until next time, bye.